Hi, in this video, we're going to go through the whole build process for a robotic hand. This hand is intentionally basic, but it's very educational to teach wiring, programming, and engineering. It's great for hobbyists if you want to learn about robotic control and manipulation. Or for educators, you can guide students through assembly, wiring, and programming of the hand in just several hours. This video is a guide for the mechanical assembly, while wiring and programming information is on my website if you want to go through the full assembly yourself. Part of the reason why the hand can be made at such a low cost is that it is fully 3D printed. So if you have a 3D printer, then you can make it using the STLs in the description. It has a palm, a forearm that houses the motors and also mounts to the palm. And it has individual fingers that each contain some phalanges that connect using these elastic bands. The elastic bands act as both the joint within the finger and the restoring force that makes the finger straight. You use fishing line. Any ordinary fishing line works as the tendon that runs through each finger to cause the contraction in a controlled manner. To assemble the hand, the first thing you can do is mount the palm onto the forearm. You can see that there's a couple notches in the forearm and in the palm as well, so they just clip together really well, creating a pretty strong grip. Then you can start mounting individual fingers to the palm. So we can start with our pinkies. These require a thin rod that connects to these mounting pieces for the pinky and the ring finger first. So you can position these two parts on the palm like so, and slide the mounting pin through these holes. And you sort of push it a bit until it's secure. Then you can see that these are able to wiggle around this axle. Then moving on to mounting each finger onto this setup. Each finger consists of 3 phalanges and a rubber band. So the assembly is really simple. You basically just take the rubber band and run it through one side of holes for each finger. With the cutouts within each phalange pointing in the same direction. So that your result is each part with these triangular cutouts pointing in the same direction. And you can do the same on the holes on the other side. And the result is a finger that looks like this. Once you have each finger connected through the elastic bands, you can start mounting them to the palm. So I'll start off with the pinky and the ring finger because these have an extra joint here. And the thumb is mounted in a similar way with this joint. The index and the middle finger are a little simpler. So with the pinky, or we can use this one since the rubber bands are longer. With the pinky, you can notice holes in the palm mounting spot here. And so we just have to thread the elastic bands through here. And you do have to push a bit, and you'll notice that it comes out at the bottom there. So you can do the same with the other end. until both ends come out there. Then you simply have to either use your fingers or a tool like tweezers to guide the end of this elastic band into these holes here. And when you push them into the holes, they will come out the other side. You just have to grab them a bit and pull them through, or push them through from this side. Next, you can just pull them tight, and you just have to tie a simple cross knot for each one, like that, like you would for the first step of a shoelace, and that is one finger done. It is basically the same process for each of the other fingers, except for the thumb, you can directly go to, or sorry, for the index in the middle, you can directly go to that final step without having this middle joint. Once you tie down each of the fingers, you should have a result that looks like this from the back and like this from the front. Next, we need to set up the fishing line tendon runs that go through each finger and tie at the top and can be pulled from the bottom. So each finger will have a dedicated strand of fishing line. Like with the elastic bands, you can cut this fishing line to be really long and trim it later. So each finger will have a different tendon run. So if we start at the pinky's tendon has to go through this hole in the forearm first. First, it goes through a hole in the forearm. Then it goes through a small hole in this first part of the pinky. And you can just insert it into the hole and just keep pushing it through, and it will almost guide itself. Once you get to the end, we will do a really simple knot tying method, which is basically just to pull out some string and then keep looping it through repeatedly through this final section. Until it becomes quite tight. So in this case, I've done 2 loops already. And if we pull it tight on the 3rd loop, find that it's already tight enough to cause a full finger contraction. So this is just a really simple way of tying a knot that can be done by anyone really quickly, and it does hold up quite well in our case. For the tendon runs of the forearm, it is practically the same thing, except you go through a hole in the forearm here, and then it just goes up and you repeat. For the index and the middle finger, the tendon run just needs to go through this hole and this hole on the base of the palm, and then the tendon extends into here and here. And for the thumb, the tendon goes through a small hole in the forearm here and into the thumb through here. So now that we have all the tendons fully assembled, you can see how pulling each tendon controls a different movement. This is now at a point where we can put our servos in and control the hand's movements by telling the servo how far to rotate and how far to pull the tendon. To be able to pull the tendon using this rotation of the servo, we set up a servo module for each servo consisting of the following components. The servo itself, a servo horn that attaches to the servo to translate the rotational motion, and a pulley. So the pulley will clamp around the string so that when the pulley rotates on the servo, the string is also pulled in a circular fashion, and it will rotate a significant amount. To set up this system, first you can use code to write the servo to the 0 position. I'll have this specific explanation and code on my website, so you can access that. Once you write the servo to the 0 position, that's where it starts from. So then you can attach your servo horn and also your pulley. And with the pulley, you should make sure that you notice a little indent here. So this is where you'll tie a knot on the tendon, and this little channel over here will be where the string goes through, and the knot will stop it from going back across the channel, which is how we're going to secure it. So you have this other piece of the servo that will go on top of this, and using this bolt, you can clamp it down like so. Before you fully tighten this pulley down, find where this notch is and place it sort of toward the backside. So in this case, I'm putting the notch around here. They both meet here. And also tie a small knot in your tendon. You can see that the knot is here. And position the knot so that it's right behind where this notch is, so that the knot interacts with the notch and allows us to pull. So here I'm just sliding this tendon until it's sitting inside this notch, and we can even disconnect it from the servo itself. And once you can kind of get it inside that notch, just adjust the string until the tendon sits inside the little cutout inside the notch. And you'll kind of hear it click like there. And then without loosening the whole pulley, you can place it on the servo module and tighten down. Fully. And now, with the rotation of the servo, so this video has given you a basic overview of the mechanical assembly of the hand, which is sort of the hard part. And the next step is just to go through the wiring diagrams and the code on my website, which will give you a way of setting up simple gestures with the hand. And in the future, you can adjust these to have custom gestures as well. If you have any questions, please comment or